Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Summer of Sport. This is a summer-long BookTube event created by the long-lost Mark at Book Time with Elvis to celebrate sports writing in all its different variations, the kind of writing that doesn't get much attention in the bookish world or on BookTube. Uh, and my initial forays in Summer of Sport were a little bit odd. I was not expecting some of the turns that they took. I am largely a plaything of the algorithm, and that really told on me in the beginning. I made a point of with Summer of Sport of not reading the recognized classics of sports writing over the centuries. Instead, I've just been going where the algorithm takes me, uh, and I've had a bit of a pause. But I read a sports related book last night that definitely counts. I'm sure that the algorithm suggested it to me because of my Summer of Sport videos. I'm sure that it did. It's Greatest of All Time by an author named C.D. Truncheon. I'm assuming that's a pen name. Whenever I see an author whose last name is a thing, is a vocabulary word of some kind, an object out in the real world, stove, bookcase, Aurora Borealis, truncheon. Whenever I see an author whose name is a thing, I assume immediately that it's a pen name. But this is a speed skating. This is about speed skating. And our main character is Jason Jensen, a 19-year-old speed skater who is the titular greatest of all time. He has all the endorsement deals. He's won every kind of meet and made every kind of record and broken every kind of record, broken his own records. And he is now in Sapporo, Japan for the Olympics. And he's sure that he's going to win the gold in the Olympics. He's absolutely positive that he is. And he has a girlfriend, Lacey. She is a social media influencer on her own. So they are, as he refers to, a power couple. And he has a manager, and he has tons and tons of fans. And his arrival in Olympic Village is an event. And he is just expecting that in the normal course of things, he will win the gold and be even more of the greatest of all time, that he'll be even more of a big deal. And in a gimmick that we've referred to a few times on this channel recently, he is bumped into. He is bumped into by a young man who recognizes him immediately, is very sorry to have bumped into him. Jason reads the young man the riot act. Says, "Don't you know who I am? Don't you, what? Look at what might have happened if you had injured me. Do you have any idea how many millions of people would have been disappointed?" And that gives you a hint of something that C.D. Truncheon does really well in this book. These are Jason has a girlfriend. He has never had a gay relationship. This is going to be, as you can see, this obnoxious cereal box labeling telling you all of the gimmicks that are involved here. Just take that off. If you're an aspiring indie author and you're thinking about doing that, just take it off. I don't care what your marketing webinars say about how good it is to identify your book. Your book is for all time, not for selling books today or tomorrow or next month. Just get that off, especially since it's blocking the AI generated artwork that you paid for. Anyway, the author does a really good job of making Jason insufferable without making him unlikable, which is really hard to do. Jason is insufferable. He is sold on himself. He is everything that you hate about professional sports. And yet, you're not long into this book before, despite all that, you're rooting for him. Especially rooting for him to drop all that, all of the arrogance and the pretext, and find his true self. Which, of course, in books like this happens in the bedroom as much as it happens anywhere else. This is not Turgenev. This is not even Halberstam. And I say that not only because the writing here is a little bit on the weak side, but also because the weakest part of this book is the sports part. I know nothing about speed skating. Now, after having read this book, I know nothing about speed skating. I know nothing about what it's like. There's jargon in here. There are some technical stuff in here, but I have no idea what it feels like, why anyone would do it, how you get good at it, how it's marketed, who else is good at it, and why. How you can fail at it, no idea at all. No sense of the sport whatsoever. But the gay romance was quite well done in this book. It has a number of obstacles to overcome. Of course, the fact that Jason has a famous girlfriend and is 100% convinced that he's not gay, never even really thinks about it. That's one obstacle. Another obstacle is that he is an incredible egotist. He's an incredibly shallow Logan Paul style egotist, which is another obstacle to overcome, not only for the reader's sympathy, but in order to watch him fall in love. No one can fall in love with a creature like that. It goes a long way to explain internet personalities, is that no one loves them. And that's another element here that I thought the author, CD Turntable, or C.T. Truncheon, does really, really well. He introduces it, I'm assuming the author is a he here, but he introduces this element early on in the book. I think it's in chapter 2 or 3, very subtly. You'd barely notice it at first, especially because Jason doesn't notice it. If he did, maybe we would, but he doesn't seem to notice that he is all alone, that he is a greatest of all time social media sociopath. He mentions that his sister couldn't get work off to come to see him at the Olympics. He mentions that he doesn't have any parents in the mix. He has a manager and statisticians and employees, but not a father and not a mother. He's alone. He also very early on, I think, in fact, this is the first thing we learn about him, is that he's not happy with Lacey. He's not happy with her as a girlfriend. He thinks probably because they just don't click, or he doesn't have the time to devote to the relationship. We later at least are told that the reason why it isn't clicking is because he's gay. I wish that CD Kitchen Sink or CD Truncheon had done more with that. I wish that he'd done more with everything in this book. I wish that it were more the speed skating. I wish that the skating, the sport element of Summer of Sport were more prominent in this book. I also wish that the relationship, the gay relationship that develops, were a little less predictable, a little less trite. And Jason himself, Jason Jensen here, I wanted more from the character. I know that this comparison is going to sound a little ridiculous, but I am still grappling. I have been grappling for months and months and months now with USA by John Dos Passos, and I'm not putting this on the level of USA, but there are some characters in USA, especially young men. Every once in a while, John Dos Passos in USA will write about a young man, essentially the kind of young man that he himself used to be. And they are often their own worst enemies, and you shouldn't root for them. And yet in every one of those vignettes in those books, you do. And I got, I know it's silly, but I got that same kind of feeling from Jason Jensen. I wish that he had been more developed. This book seemed rushed to me in a way that, you could still get all of the gay checklist, the thing that the gays are looking for. They're definitely looking for that kind of cereal box advertising. They shouldn't be. But they definitely are, and you definitely get that in this book. But I wanted more. I wanted more from the greatest of all time. I did enjoy it. There were parts of it that I enjoyed. The CD Truncheon, Billy Club, Nightstick has an easy reading style. You won't stop reading. And there aren't any howlers. At the very end of the book, I thought that the author was painting himself into a corner that would require a howler to get out of. But it doesn't end up happening. He knew what he was doing all along, so I need not have doubted him. I liked it. I just wasn't blown away. I've been blown away by some Summer of Sport picks. So maybe I will throw another one on the pile for tonight. Something else. God knows what the algorithm will suggest from this thing. I'll throw something else on the pile for tonight. Maybe a nonfiction work about speed skating, so that I can learn about it. But anyway, I'll report back. Thank you, BookTube.